Hello to you again. Is there ever a time when apparently breaking the rules could possibly be within the rules? I mean, if you just looked at the position and you said, that's not possible within the rules of chess, could it still happen? Well, I recently made the claim that it would be an illegal situation. Well, I played around with an idea here, and although it doesn't feature in the solution, it is possible along the way. So let's just have a look at this. This position is white to checkmate in 5 moves. In fact, there are 3 main lines. The first one and the second one are both mates in 5. The last one is a mate in 4. I'm saving the last one for last because it will feature what I've just got through saying. So let's just take a look at this. What jumps out at you here? White is a little head of material. His positional advantage is quite clear cut with white's 2 bishops on the long diagonals. So what would white like to be able to do here? Well, if you notice this rook, it would like to be able to take black's knight. This bishop, of course, would like to give check. So I think the key move is fairly straightforward. It's f6 check from the bishop. Now, we'll look at the 2 mates in 5 first. First of all, we'll look at g6. Now, what happens here? Well, it doesn't protect the knight because the pawn is pinned. So, of course, white takes it off and gives check. So what does black do here? Well, he only has one move, doesn't he? He has to interpose this knight. Okay, so that's 2 moves down. What does white do now? Well, he pushes the pawn on. And in so doing, if you look at that position, if this pawn were not on the board, that would be stalemate. Because not only is the knight pinned by the rook, but the pawn is pinned by the bishop. And the king cannot move anywhere. But thankfully, this pawn is on the board, so black has to play his 3rd move to there. So what do we do now? Well, what we do now is we convert to a queen. Now again, if this bishop were not here, supposing it were here or here, that would be stalemate as well. Just take a good look at it. Absolutely stalemate. But he can take the bishop off. And how do we finish this game? Yes, it's always nice to under checkmate, meaning to say with a rook rather than a queen. And that is checkmate. Nice one, isn't it? So let's put these back and take a look at variation number 2. How did I dream this one up? Because I was playing around with the idea of illegality in chess. I'd made a bit of a point about it and I wanted to see if I could prove myself wrong. I challenge myself, I'll challenge others. I want you to challenge me. If you think that I'm wrong, you tell me. But if you think that I'm right, tell me that as well. So that's the original position. We play f6, check. And he just played g6. It doesn't work. What if he comes here? What do we do then? Well, what we do then is we drop the bishop back to here. And he's put in check. Now clearly, if he advances this pawn, we just take here. And if you take a look at that, that is checkmate. So he plays for time. He doesn't advance the pawn at once. He puts white in check. And he's forking the king and the bishop. Well, he's not really, because we just take the knight off. And that is check. So black, at that point, has no option but to advance the pawn. So now we take it again. Now, moving the knight, of course, has given black a flight square and has extended this mate to 5 moves. So he goes here. Can you see how we finish this? Yeah, we drop the bishop back again. We dropped it back. We're dropping it back. Rook check. Nothing can interpose. And the king has no flight squares. And that's checkmate. So that's the second mate in 5 moves. Notice this time how this pawn was not required. It's required in variation 1, but not in variation 2. That's the start position again. So f6 check. This time he drops back. That's his third and final reply. He has nothing else. So what do we do here? Well, I did say at the beginning white wanted to take this knight, and so it's proven. We take it. Black must come in here for his second move. Now, what do we do here? Well, taking this pawn is tempting, but he dropped the king back, and it will be somewhat difficult to achieve our aim here in 4 moves. So, what do we do here? Just take a good look at that. Take a jolly good look at it. Well, we do this. And now we're within 1 move of me proving what I was saying before, that you can have illegality in chess. What does black do? Where can he move? You notice by moving this pawn to here, you're pinning this pawn. His knight is pinned. His king cannot move. We're back to this again. Without this, it would be stalemate. So he pushes it on. So what do we do here? What do we do? Well, this is the point that I was making earlier, and I've just made it again. You could, if you wanted to, let's just borrow this one. You could promote to a bishop if you want, and now look at that. Ordinarily, anyone would say that bishop could not possibly have reached that square legally. Well, it's there. The trouble with that is you'd lose all your advantage. So you don't do that, but I'm just proving that it could be done if you were of such a mind. So, what do we do instead then, if we don't promote that to a bishop? Do we promote it to something else? Well, you can. You can promote it to a rook. And that's checkmate. Because his knight is pinned and his king can't move anywhere. Equally, you could promote it to a queen. And that's checkmate. Isn't that nice? But let us not forget, you don't need to promote it to anything. Let's just put it back. We're not going to promote that. We're going to preserve our little arrangement here. What do we do instead? We whip the knight off. And because his pawn is pinned, our bishop attack notwithstanding, checkmate. Isn't that a lovely problem? And I was flabbergasted when I eventually managed to produce it. And I like that idea of a bishop there. And that shows you that you can create the impossible. I hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye for now.